The movie kicks off with a man angrily ripping off his tie and tossing it to the ground. He is none other than the infamous convicted bank robber, Jack Foley. Spotting a SunTrust bank across the street, Jack impetuously walks in and goes to a front desk officer. He threatens her, saying his partner is present in the bank with a gun. The officer is scared and does exactly as told by Jack. He casually chats with her to avoid looking suspicious. He then walks out of the building with nobody to stop him. He goes to his car, which won't start. Two officers approach the vehicle and arrest Jack right then and there. Jack's apprehended and taken to a facility in Florida. He plays basketball with his inmate for a while and then sits back down. He takes a moment to look at all the old men who are still imprisoned in the crowd, and also two shady guys who seem to be discussing something. He sneakily goes up to a jailer and snitches that some prisoners plan to run away. In exchange for them being caught, Jack wants something in return. He instructs him to meet him later that night for more details. Jack walks up to the shady guys who seem to be his inmates and chats with them a bit. He very carefully gets a hold of their plan to run away. He already knows they are planning to break out of the prison. The two have decided to flee tonight itself, because the facility is busy erecting another security fence outside the current fence, which is way further from their current escape. Jack pretends as if he's supportive to not seem suspicious. Back in Miami, a girl named Adele picks up the call with Jack and they discuss Jack's inmate's escape plan. He asks Adele to help him run out of the prison. Adele tells him two guys would help him with the escape and Jack agrees. On the other hand, a girl named Karen Cisco meets up with her father, who is a retired U.S. Marshal. He gives Karen a Sig Sauer P232 pistol as a birthday gift. He then talks about her relationship with a man named Ray Nicole, who's married and not separated from his wife. Karen doesn't pay any heed to it. Not wanting to talk about it, Karen changes the subject about needing to go to the Glades Correctional Facility later that evening. Her father asks her to work with him again, as she's also a U.S. Marshal, but Karen declines the offer. That night, Jack tells the jailer his inmate's whole escape plan. Just then, Karen arrives and parks in the parking lot just as Jack's bank robbery partner Buddy parks his car there too. Jack's inmates start their escape. The jailer waits for the inmates, not realizing this is all Jack's plan. Jack hits him from behind with a vase, knocking him out. Just then, Jack's inmates come out of their escape tunnel only to be caught by Karen. Karen sees the men pop out of the escape tunnel from her car and immediately tells the tower guards. Buddy is afraid he might be caught too, so he hides underneath his car. 4 more men emerge from the tunnel with the tower guards, immediately shooting 2 of them. Jack then comes out, dressed in the prison guard's uniform, but with mud all over his face to be unrecognizable. Karen is confused, but just then, Buddy walks up from behind her and grabs her. Both Jack and Buddy shove her into her car's trunk. Jack jumps in with her, and Buddy drives off to safety. While in the trunk, Jack flirts with Karen while she slanders him for his stinky breath. He compliments her body. Jack tells her about his convictions and ex-wife, as Karen is intrigued by his persona. They talk about movies, and the two form a little crush on each other. Just then, they start hearing sirens, but Jack doesn't care. He keeps on hitting on her and Karen doesn't shy away anymore. Buddy interrupts their conversation abruptly. When he stops at a highway underpass to meet his friend, Karen starts shooting at them from inside. Jack gives Karen a choice to give up, or Buddy will shoot her with her shotgun he's now holding. Just then, Glenn arrives. Karen finally gives herself up, and Jack puts her into Glenn's car while she's handcuffed. Jack is clearly really annoyed with Glenn but tries his best to stay calm. Karen slowly frees herself off the handcuffs and starts casually talking to Glenn in order to break free. She provokes Glenn to leave so that he doesn't get incarcerated. Glenn easily gets manipulated. Glenn drives off with Karen, and without Buddy and Jack. The scene pans onto a flashback from 2 years ago. Jack is at a boxing match at a federal prison. We see Buddy and Glenn with Jack too. Buddy and Jack talk about their inmates and all their crimes. Suddenly, Snoopy, the guy who lost the boxing match, stabs the winner viciously, because he kept bragging about defeating Snoopy. All the other inmates are appalled but pretend not to have seen anything, as they don't want the same fate. Back in the present, Buddy and Jack go to Buddy's apartment to rest for some time. Karen finds out their whereabouts and sneakily enters the apartment. Jack draws a bath and gets in. Karen appears suddenly with a gun in hand and finds Jack in the tub. She smirks as she looks at him. She enters the bathroom and Jack opens his eyes. He grabs the gun in her hand and pulls her in the tub with him. She starts making out with him. Karen snaps awake where she finds herself in a hospital bed. Her father's there by her side, but suddenly Daniel, her boss, shows up to question her about the incident. She tells him about meeting Glenn years ago and uses that to convince Glenn to drive without Buddy and Jack. Whilst driving away, Karen grabbed the steering wheel as Glenn wasn't listening to her anymore. This caused the car to crash against some large water gallons. The collision knocked Karen out cold. Karen tells him Jack and her talked about different things. Daniel isn't convinced and finds the story interrogating her more. Karen snarkily replies back to him and Daniel walks away determined to find Jack. In another flashback, when Jack is still at the federal prison, He gets in a slight argument with Snoopy after he stabbed another inmate. Snoopy's protege comes to attack him but knocks him down and they scurry away. Over at Buddy's apartment, Jack snoops through Karen's purse. Buddy wants to leave immediately, but Jack is adamant on wanting to see Karen one more time. Karen's discharged and at her dad's house when her boyfriend comes in. Ray, Karen's boyfriend. She keeps on asking about Jack and is relieved to find out he hasn't been caught yet. Her father notices this. Just then, Karen gets Jack's call and immediately excuses herself to make sure her conversation isn't heard. Karen and Jack have a fun banter on the phone. She tries to get Jack to turn himself in but he keeps on flirting. Just then, Buddy talks in the background and Karen recognizes his voice. Realizing that Karen can now figure out where they are hiding out, the men are in a dilemma because Jack once told the escaped prisoner, Chino, about his ex-wife, Adele, and where she lives when he was drunk. Since Chino's partner was killed by the FBI, Jack knows Chino will come looking for him at Adele's place, and he also realizes the U.S. Marshals will soon find Adele too. So he and Buddy set out to warn her before leaving for Detroit. Jack and Buddy reach Adele's residence and wait outside. Jack sees Karen getting out of her car to go meet Adele. Chino finds Adele's place while Karen questions Adele about Jack. He tries to attack Adele but Karen tackles him. Karen promptly arrests him, and then immediately calls her boss. She uses Chino's arrest to get on Daniel's task force. Back at Buddy's apartment, the two men prepare to leave for Detroit. Daniel and his task force also arrive to arrest them. Daniel makes Karen wait out to watch the elevator and they head up the stairs to Buddy's room. Buddy and Jack enter the elevator to the parking garage. That's when Karen and Jack spot each other, but she doesn't alert Daniel and his men right away. Jack and Buddy make it to the car and head out of town. Karen leaves her town to find Jack. Back at Detroit, Glenn meets up with former prisoner Snoopy. He thinks Jack and Buddy got caught and asks for Snoopy's help. Glenn wants to rob his former rich inmate, Ripley, but doesn't get along with Snoopy since he's taking all the control. Nonetheless, Glenn helps him and his little gang kill a rival dealer to show his allegiance. Glenn participates, but the experience horrifies him. Right then, Buddy and Jack arrive at the place and meet up with Glenn. Snoopy comes in and they discuss their shares in Ripley's wealth. Snoopy isn't satisfied, so he tells Jack to meet him again the coming Friday. Jack agrees and walks away knowing Snoopy is dangerous. Karen arrives in Detroit too, and meets with Agent Raymond, who's investigating murder Snoopy and his gang just committed. Karen asks Raymond more about Snoopy. Buddy and Jack on the other hand are extra careful now that Karen's here. Karen takes Snoopy's address from Raymond, and she talks to his sister, Muddell. Muddell tells Karen about Snoopy's fights and Kenneth, Snoopy's older brother, comes in. Muddell adds that she hasn't seen Snoopy for months. She knows he loves boxing and can probably be found at some matches at the State Theater the next night. Kenneth tries to woo Karen but she's over him already. He tries to overpower her but Karen quickly attacks him and walks away casually. Jack and Buddy sit outside Ripley's house planning to rob him ahead of Snoopy. In another flashback, Jack arrives at Ripley's office to talk about a job he once offered to him, but he's enraged since Ripley wants Jack as a security guard. Jack's then thrown out of the office. This is the initial scene from when the movie starts, to which Jack then goes on and robs Sun Trust Bank. At present, Jack remembers this and pledges to rob Ripley for how he treated him. Later that night at her hotel, Karen is approached by numerous guys but she tells them all to leave her alone. She's upset and misses Jack. Jack suddenly appears and they chat for a while. They get lost in each other's time and enjoy the time they spend together. They talk about their first meeting and fall for each other. She confesses that she likes him. The two share a drink, and then go to her room for romantic moments. Karen tells Jack that she didn't have romance with him for thrills or a kink but rather she likes him. Jack understands that and they cuddle together. She wakes up the next morning alone, but Jack left her Sig Sauer that he took from her as a memento. That night at the State Theater, Glenn sits with Snoopy's gang for a bit before leaving to go to the bathroom. He takes the opportunity to leave the theater. Unfortunately for him, Karen's there waiting for him. Karen catches him and he tells her Snoopy scares him a lot as he's ruthless. He tells her he just wants to leave. He tells her about the diamond heist. Karen lets Glenn go, and he runs off into the cold night. Jack and Buddy soon meet up with Snoopy and his gang. Jack prepares to leave as Glenn isn't there but Snoopy stops him. Jack and Buddy are already suspicious that Snoopy might kill them, so Jack tells Buddy to wait it out. Jack knows Karen is there so he isn't scared of what might happen. Snoopy plans to rob Ripley that night, and the men head off to do the job along with Jack. Unbeknownst to them, Karen follows behind. They soon arrive and Snoopy's bodyguard named White Boy Bob pretends to be a plumber and forces his way past Ripley's maid. Buddy comes along not wanting to leave Jack. Everyone then enters, and Snoopy demands to know where Ripley is. The maid says he's in Florida and has no idea when he's gonna return. Snoopy, Bob, and Kenneth take the maid to Ripley's bedroom to find the gems. Bob keeps an eye on Jack but gets distracted by food. Jack sneakily enters another room only to find Ripley hidden there. Snoopy finds a safe and they try to shoot it open. The maid knows the combination and tells them about it. However, the safe only contained wigs. Meanwhile, Buddy finds Jack and Richard. Jack tells him the diamonds are in the fish tank. He tells Buddy to take them so they can leave without Snoopy and his boys. Once the two men have the diamonds and are safely in the van, Jack tells Buddy to leave with the diamonds. He knows those men will use the maid, so he goes back in. Jack tells Buddy he will meet up with him later. Buddy gives Jack his gun and then drives away. Jack then heads back into the house. Jack finds Kenneth trying to use Midge and he shoots Kenneth, killing him on the spot. As Jack turns, White Boy Bob appears at the bottom of the staircase with a gun. Jack appears to surrender and shoots himself dead. Snoopy shows up and shoots at Jack but misses. They're both out of bullets, so they fight. Snoopy has the upper hand with his boxing skills. He runs to grab White Boy Bob's gun, while Jack runs back to the bedroom for Kenneth's gun. Karen shows up and shoots Snoopy dead. Karen then orders Jack to surrender, but he comes out of the bedroom with the gun in his hand. Karen doesn't know there's no bullets in it. Not wanting to go back to prison, he tells her to kill him. She can't and shoots him in the leg instead. She cuffs him to the staircase where Raymond comes in and arrests him. Buddy soon leaves with diamonds to the airport. The next day, Karen talks to her father about her dilemma but decides to do the right thing. She transports him back to Florida in a police van with another prisoner named Hedgera Henry. Jack and Hedgera have a lot in common. Karen smiles as they start driving off, not knowing what's going to happen next at the end of the movie. Like this video and subscribe to N Recaps for more recaps like this.